This baby macaque named Punch went viral, not just because he's cute, but because this image tells a story. Today, I'm going to draw this and show you exactly how to make your drawing convey emotions, in particular the contrast between vulnerability and comfort. So this image works well because it's so simple. So here I'm drawing very simple circles, that's the muzzle. Now I'm going to be drawing another little circle for the eye. Do follow along with me, little line for the mouth. Now just the shoulder, which is another simple shape. And remember, if I go too quickly, just hit pause and rewind. Now just here next to it, I'm going to be drawing a larger circle. And this is going to be for the back leg. It's taking shape now. And this image works because it's so simple. So there's one animate object and one inanimate object. There's one emotion and one focal point. Now we're drawing the curved spine. He's kind of bent over his toy. And then here we're just adding in the foot. Now we're going to add in the tail. And then we're going to use little lines to join up all the various shapes to make it a whole. We're also going to be adding in his soft toy. I believe it's a monkey toy from IKEA, and that sales have just shot up enormously since this image went viral. We're not going to be doing that much detail on this one because we want the focal point to be on Punch, but we are just adding in the basic shapes. So this toy is lying down. It's quite a bit bigger than Punch. So just very lightly in pencil, we're just adding in the basic shapes. Don't press too hard. Going to be erasing it because now I'm going to be drawing in pen, but please do carry on in pencil. This is just so you can see the details much better on camera. Now the main focal point, the eyes. So this is where all the emotion is stored, and this is exactly why this image went viral. It was so emotional. You could see his little eyes and just the tenderness, and that tiny reflection makes him feel really present. So very dark rims during the rest of the face. He's just looking downwards forlornly, and you can just feel his loneliness. I do believe he's made a lot more friends now since the viral image, but at this point he was still a little bit lonely. I believe his mother had rejected him, and yeah, he used the soft toy to comfort himself, so we want to portray that. So really do focus on the eyes. If you don't focus on anything else, just focus on the eyes. Now we're adding in some fur, just little dashes, but remember to do it in the direction of growth of the fur. They're not all standing upright. So I'm using curved lines, as you can see here. And then around the facial area, shorter dashes here, because the fur's a lot shorter. It gets longer the higher up on its head it goes. And we'll just pop in the ear. And it's very hairy around the ear, so we're going to add those in too. Now we're doing the top of the shoulder, and pay close attention to the direction of fur. This fur's much longer around the head area. And we're keeping the areas smooth, just a very simple line, just around the mouth. And then the fur, back to the fur, that's all furry, and then around the arm area. So it's going on all different directions depending on how the fur grows. Just add a few little dots and dashes, just to show that all these areas are furry, not just the outline that we're doing. And the darker the area, the more dashes that you do and the more lines. So here we're going across the back. It's a little bit smoother, so the lines are kind of overlapping a little bit more. It's not standing on edge like it was around the head. And the same applies here around the leg area. It's a lot smoother. And then we're adding a couple of dashes just where there are little clumps and clusters of fur. Just carrying on around the base of the leg. Just follow along with me. And now we're moving towards the foot at the bottom here. Just adding a few more little bits of fur before we do that. So the foot's all smooth, so just use a continuous line. And this also shows emotion, where you can see the tiny little feet, and he's only small and unprotected and very, very vulnerable. So draw the little feet in detail. I'm adding a little bit of shadow underneath here. Just extra lines just to show it's very, very furry. Now we're going to be adding in the little hand. Again, another focal point because it's just very cute and very small. And when you look at little hands, you just think of how small and vulnerable they are. So I'm just drawing in a little bit of the soft toy that he's holding on to. Now I'm using much straighter lines for this. I want to show the difference between Punch the monkey and his little toy monkey. So I'm not using these very kind of fluffy furry lines that I used for Punch. I'm using much straighter, they look a little bit more blocky, if that makes any sense. So I'm just drawing in the hand of the toy monkey here. I want to differentiate it from the hand of Punch the monkey, which is nice and smooth and curved. So just drawing the outline of the toy. Just follow these preparatory lines that we did before. We did all the hard work right at the beginning, where we have all the structure that we needed and all the preparatory shapes, and we just have to follow them now. Makes our life a lot easier. Just adding in the legs of the toy monkey. Again, keeping it much more simple than I did with Punch. The little foot. And voila! We have erased all the pencil lines, and now we're just going in to do a little bit more shadow. So I'm just showing the areas that are really, really dark. The light's coming in from the top right hand corner and from the top. So the areas that don't get any sunlight, so just bottom left, is where we're going to be adding more shadows. So the left hand side below the head is going to be very, very dark indeed. Just adding it to all these areas, just colouring in, just using lines in the same direction. I'm doing quite a hard shadow. I'm not using cross hatching here, I'm just colouring it in all in the same direction, as you can see. This shows that the sun is very, very strong, probably just after midday. So the reason why this drawing is so powerful is because we've got this tiny little monkey, and the body posture is very, very important. He's hunched over, he's cuddling, but he's cuddling an inanimate object. The toy can't cuddle him back, and that's what gives this drawing so much pathos. It's very, very sad, and that's why we're focusing mainly on Punch. Notice how I'm simplifying the toy here. It's slightly flatter, because if both were equally detailed, the emotional focus would just disappear. We want the viewer's gaze to fall on Punch. So here I'm drawing a lot more detail of the fur, particularly towards the bottom where the sunlight isn't hitting it. So body posture is very, very important in conveying emotions. So I'm just adding the finishing touches. I'm drawing some shadow for the toy. Again, I'm just doing it very, very simply, just with some diagonal lines. I don't want to make it the focal point. And also, if you want to go deeper into this idea about how small decisions in posture and composition can create emotions, I have made a full video called The Secret to Emotional Animal Drawing, so I'll put a link in it at the end. In that video, I break down exactly how to make animals feel alive, not just accurate. And here's the finished drawing. So whether it's a viral baby monkey or your own artwork, emotion comes first. See you on the next one.